Hello, good evening, my sweet people. How are you? And I say evening, although I don't even know what time it is. I'm presuming that it's already after 6 because I got home a few minutes after 5. I ate, did a few things, and then I got started with the live. So I presume that it's just now after 6. So tonight I'm going to be talking about some food safety myths that are out there and how you can either work through them or overcome them. And not only just that, so that you're aware of what's the right thing to do. All right. I know many of us have all our concerns about how we prepare our foods, how we store foods, or how even they might affect us or make us sick sometimes, and what may be causing them. So let's talk about a few of those myths that I have to share with you today. So if you come on now, you're probably watching the replay. So I would invite you to go back and watch the repeat broadcast. And so that way you can also participate and comment. And if you're not following me, please tap my nose, hit follow, and even go to my business page and like it. This is my business page that I'm coming to you live from. So you can, if you haven't liked this page yet, please do so. I welcome you to do that. My name is Naja Root. And I am a beauty guide with Limelight by Alcone, but I don't always just talk about makeup and skincare. Sometimes I like to give you guys insight about some things that are important to us in our day and age today, and things that sometimes cause us concern. So, and how to manage our life around those things or with those concerns and situations that we face. So let's begin with one of those first myths from food safety. So the first myth that I wrote here that I have on my notes is that the last meal you had caused a foodborne illness or caused you to have food poisoning. Well, when in reality, the fact is that except for some toxins, viruses, or except for some toxins and viruses, most harmful microorganisms take longer than just a few days or a few hours to make you sick. So the longer you are with the food in your system, is probably the more likelihood that you are prone to get sick from those foods that you ate, and not because you just ate it like an hour or two ago. So symptoms actually start from, remember I said that it takes a little longer than a few hours to get you sick. Well, symptoms can actually start from that few hours to several weeks after you have already eaten the contaminated food. So you may have eaten something the week before that actually caused you to get sick. And so before you start wanting to complain per se, some of us do that, or sue somebody for a food that you ate in a particular restaurant per se that day, that earlier that morning or whatever the day before, consider that it could have been something that you ate even a week prior that could have gotten you sick. And some of the common symptoms that you might experience from a foodborne illness will be things like diarrhea. Some of these things are known to you all. We all know this, but just to recap, fever, vomiting, and dehydration. Those are the most common symptoms that you may face, and they're not as they're serious enough, but they're not grave. Okay, so the more serious and less common that are more severe are things like paralysis. I never knew that. Meningitis, and of course, ultimately death, depending on how grave those symptoms are. So that was one of the first myths, right? And so I tend to eat things sometimes that might have an expiration date because it doesn't smell bad. But here's another myth for you. So leftovers are safe to eat if they look and smell okay. That's a myth. The fact is, you won't necessarily get sick, right? You won't necessarily get sick. There are different types of bacteria, and some may cause illnesses and others will not. So it just depends, I guess, on what that bacteria is and how it affects you as a person, whether you're going to become ill from it or not. If you happen to eat something that either smells or tastes or smells good or looks okay, when in reality it may not be. So you can't go by the looks. So that's ouch for me, because I have done that where I felt like the food smelled okay, so I ate it. But anyway, here's some more facts about that. like I said, you won't necessarily get sick. Then there are different types of bacteria. Like I said, some may cause illnesses, some may not. The types of bacteria that do cause illnesses don't affect the taste or smell or the appearance of the food. So that's why we got to be careful, because looks can be deceiving, or even the smell, lack of smell, may be deceiving. So when in doubt, throw it out. Repeat after me. When in doubt, throw it out. Well, apparently I didn't have any doubt, so I ate it. But that's just me, that's just me. And so my kids are maybe a little smarter than me, because they won't eat it if they find that it's expired. So I don't push them, but I do tell them, hey, if they see me eating something, like, Mom, that's expired. But if like I said, maybe two. I can't remember the other time, but I think there were two times. But at least one of those times, I remember I was going to eat some yogurt, and the yogurt was not smelling or looking like it was curdled or anything. And so it was freshly packaged. It was still sealed because I hadn't opened it yet. It just had passed the expiration date. And I wanted to make me a protein shake. And so it called for that yogurt. So I took it and I made my food with my smoothie with it. So, and I was fine. I said, well, now if I get sick, now I won't know why I got sick, right? But you might be a daredevil like me, maybe you're not, so power to you. But I'm just giving you some facts and some myths here so you can guide yourself accordingly. So the next one that I have is that you shouldn't put hot foods in the fridge. That's a myth, right? And I've always said, to my family, why not? Why can't you just put it in the fridge? I mean, you just cooked it, put it in the fridge, it's going to cool down. In the fridge, it's going to make it cool down even faster, probably, because you're putting it right into the refrigerator. Well, here's the facts. They can be placed in the fridge. So what I was saying was good. But there's a catch-22 to that. If you have larger amounts of food that you need to store, it's best to break it down in smaller size, smaller portions, so that it can cool even faster. And so that's probably the better thing to do than just throwing a whole roast or a whole soup or a whole rice dish or whatever it is that you cooked. Then better to break it down into sections and part, like how we do meal prep. Probably better to separate it in meals or in portions so the family can get easily access to it. Or maybe freeze half of it. Put half of it in the freezer so you can have it more to eat later or the next day or whatever. But like I say, if you're going to do that, then better to portion it rather in smaller settings so that each person can get their own meal. So I have started actually doing that. Doing meal prep. So I'm excited. I don't think I did it right today, this week, but I haven't read up my meal plan that I have for my Camp Gladiator workout because I'm on a CG Fit program. And so they have given us meals, menus out of there, recipes. So I need to go look at that before I go any further this week. Anyway, so more about the myth and the fact that yes, you can place cold, warm food that you just cooked in the fridge to cool. So it says, like I said, separate them into separate large amounts into smaller portions to assist with faster cooling. So perishable food should be in refrigerator in 40 degrees or below temperatures within 2 hours. 2 hours of your preparation time. If you forget it, toss it. Right? If you forget it and you don't remember how long it's been out, it's probably best to toss it. But if you have an inclination or indication that you might have had it out for a long time, then just go ahead and toss it because it's probably best for your own good. Bacteria can grow rapidly in food left out at room temperature. That's probably something we knew before. But if it's out more than 2 hours, I don't know. Some people might feel like being out 30 minutes is too long. I am one of those people. Now, it's funny. I will eat expired foods, but I won't. I will throw away food if I feel like it's been out too long. And if it's out too long in the elements and maybe flies or gnats or whatever, depending on where I am, if it gets to the food, I'm more likely going to throw it away rather than just putting it up, And when we go to parties and functions where people are able to do the buffet style and they can just grab it, say, go, I have a very hard time with just taking any food home or, if I do take food home, normally I'll go ahead and get it right away. Once I eat my first portion or my first serving, then I'll go and get my seconds. But the seconds will be something I'm going to take home, and I'll wrap it up and I'll put it in the fridge of the person's house or wherever I am, if I can. If it's already outside where it's somewhat cool or chilled, well, if I can afford to leave it, I know before my husband used to make cheesecake, and he would, when it was in the wintertime, especially for Christmas and when it's already cold outside, so we would put it in our garage because it's that cold out there to leave it like 30 degrees temperature, things like that, below 40, like it says, right? So that's what we would leave it outside in the garage to cool. So these are I gave you really 3 myths and 3 facts that go along with those myths. And so there's a lot. There's another 13 out of the link that I found, out of the article that I found, and they're a total of 16. So if you want more of the myths and facts about food safety, please message me on Messenger and I will give you the rest of those. But I thought I'll give you the ones that I am more guilty of, per se, maybe, or more that people are more concerned with. So that's what I focus on today. And so maybe I could do another one later on, but if you want the whole list, you have a family debate or something, then message me and I'll give you the rest of the listing. And this information I got from the Department of Health in Washington State. All right. So thank you guys for watching. Have a safe and great and wonderful evening. Tomorrow's a work day. Good night. Love you. Naja out.